Let's see.
I already mentioned enough about the results. Good. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's get started with the digestive system. You said it's recorded.
It is?
Okay. You want to check it? We are I hope. I can't do anything. I'm not here. So, quiet! Okay, as you guys know, you guys are so chattery, and I told you we have so much stuff to do. I know it's Monday, okay? But especially she has a good point. The recorder is really far back, so you guys need to be extra quiet, or you guys won't be able to hear me. Okay? And same thing, the IT personnel is not here tomorrow. My class starts at 7 o'clock, so usually I'm going to do the lecture portion first, and probably the recorder won't be there because nobody comes in until 8 o'clock. Okay? So let's kind of keep it quiet and do the digestion. Okay, now, so when we're talking about the digestive system, we have main digestive organs and we have the accessories. Okay? The main digestive organs, they function to actually digest food. In a sense, stuff is going through them and they're doing the process of digestion and absorption. With the accessory glands, they indirectly affect digestion. How? Because they secrete substances which are needed for digestion. Does that make sense? So A, in the image, is salivary glands. A is salivary glands. The function of the salivary glands is to secrete saliva. E is pancreas. Okay. E is a pancreas, and the pancreas releases enzymes and bicarbonate. Now this pancreas, as you know, it has an endocrine part and an exocrine part. I'm talking about the exocrine part. We already covered the endocrine part, okay? H is appendix. Now, appendix is actually part of the lymphatic system. It has no known function for the digestive system, but it's located in the abdomen, so I'm just identifying it for you, okay? J is the gallbladder. J is the gallbladder. The gallbladder functions to basically secrete bile. K is the liver. Produces bile. It has multiple other functions, which there's another slide which will list the functions of the liver, but right now I'm just writing one. So now these are the accessories, because food actually doesn't go to them. They just produce products which help the digestion process. Okay. Now let's talk about the main digestive organs, which are actually like hollow tubes, and food travels throughout these tubes, and basically you have digestion and absorption going on. So B is pharynx. Okay. Transports food. Basically, from our mouth, when we swallow, food first enters the pharynx. C is esophagus. And when we talk about layman term food pipe, that's esophagus. Okay? Food pipe. D is stomach. Stomach produces chyme. Chyme or chyme, different pronunciations. Okay, and we'll talk about what that is a little bit later. Okay. F is small intestines. F is small intestines. Okay? And the function of the small intestine is to digest and absorb food. Okay, absorb food. G is a rectum. Is a rectum, and the rectum stores feces until it's time to defecate. I are large intestines. I are large intestines, and the function of a large intestine is to produce feces and vitamin K. Okay. So these are the main tubes, and as you can see, they actually look like hollow tubes, which within the lumen you actually find food going through. Okay? Those are the main necessary organs. The other ones we talked about, liver, gallbladder, food does not enter them. They just secrete products. Now, when we talk about the wall of the digestive organ, I mean the main digestive organs, okay? Esophagus, stomach, large intestine. When you actually look histologically, they actually have 4 different layers. Okay? A is a lumen. Food is located. Okay? A is a lumen, this is where the food is found. B is a mucosa. It's made up of epithelium. It actually has 3 distinct layers. So when you actually look at histology more in deeper, the mucosa itself even has 3 distinct layers. I'm not going over the layers. I don't know if Dr. Yusuf will make it. You guys responsible for knowing this. But I'm just keeping it simple. Mucosa is also the layer that actually comes in contact with food. Comes in contact. C is submucosa. Sub means below, so it's below the mucosa, so it's called submucosa. The submucosa contains basically, it's made up of connective tissue. It contains blood vessels and nerves. And so right here you could see the blue and the red are the veins and the artery. The yellow is a nerve. It has a third vessel, which is green. That vessel is called lacteal. Okay? Lacteals are basically the spot where the food actually gets dumped into. Once it's absorbed, food enters these lacteals. Another important thing the submucosa contain is submucosal plexus. Submucosal plexus. the submucosal plexus is actually ganglions of the parasympathetic system. These plexes are actually ganglions of the parasympathetic nervous system. Remember, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic? So this is the cell bodies of the parasympathetic nervous system. D is the muscularis. So the muscular layer, the muscle layer, muscularis. It's smooth muscle. And the muscle layer is smooth. Now, it has two muscle layers. Okay? It has the inner circular layer. Why is it called inner circular? Because here's one layer, here's a second layer. This is the inner one. And the fibers are actually oriented in a circular fashion. They actually run this way. Okay? Therefore, the inner muscle layer is called inner circular muscle layer. It's smooth muscle. Then you have the second layer is called outer longitudinal. It's the outer one, and the fibers are running in this direction. Therefore, it's called outer longitudinal. Outer longitudinal. It's also smooth muscle. Okay? Now, the exception is within the stomach. Exception is within the stomach. So, not on the pharynx, esophagus, large intestines, they all contain two muscles, inner circular, outer longitudinal. But when I'm talking about the stomach, there's an exception. It actually contains 3 layers, not 2. So it contains the inner circular, middle oblique, and then outer longitudinal. Okay? So stomach contains a 3rd layer, which is called the middle oblique. Okay, you can't see it in here. So the stomach contains 3 layers of the muscle. Inner circular, middle oblique, outer longitudinal. Another important structure found within the muscular system is basically the plexus. We have the submucosal plexus within the submucosa. We have a plexus as well, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, and this plexus is called myenteric. Myenteric plexus. Okay. The myenteric plexus is also responsible, or I mean, it's also part of the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. E is, depending on which organ we're talking about, it's either called serosa or adventitia. Serosa or adventitia, depending on which organ we're actually talking about. Okay? Regardless if it's serosa or adventitia, it's a connective tissue layer. It just encloses the entire organ. Okay? As you guys know, the outermost layer is usually a connective tissue, and its function is always protective. So these are the 4 layers of the digestive layer. Any questions?
Can you just go over lacteal one more time?
Sure. So within the submucosa, we have 4 vessels, right? 2 of them, or red one is artery, blue one is vein, yellow is the nerve, and the green is lacteal. It's actually vessels, so because the mucosa layer, the epithelium, will absorb the food. The food doesn't directly enter the artery. The food actually goes into lacteals. Okay. Now let's talk about the GI motility. What does motility mean to you guys? So there are two different types of motility within the gastrointestinal tract. There's peristalsis and segmentation. Okay? We'll talk about what they are in just a second. Motility is responsible due to the following. Okay? We have plexus located within the digestive organs. So these plexus, okay, which are, as I said, they are part of the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay? Remember when we're talking about the parasympathetic, or when we're talking about the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, you have the sympathetic and parasympathetic. They usually work in opposites, correct? Sympathetic, what did the sympathetic do to your digestive system? Did it increase it or decrease it? Decrease. And parasympathetic increased it. So these parasympathetic plexus, these are actually ganglions or cell bodies, they actually innervate the muscle, the muscular layer. And now because they innervate the muscle can actually contract, and therefore you have some type of movement. Does that make sense? Okay. So plexus located within the digestive organs. So you find one plexus within the submucosa, or within the submucosa, and another one is the myenteric. So the submucosal plexus and the myenteric. The submucosal plexus was found within the submucosa. The myenteric was located in the muscularis. Muscularis layer. Okay? They're actually ganglions, cell bodies. So these ganglions or these cell bodies, they innervate the muscle, the smooth muscle, the muscular layer. And now the muscles can actually contract and relax, therefore you have some motility movement going on. So it's responsible, the motility is due to the plexus as well as the smooth muscle found within the digestive organs. Okay, the plexus innervates smooth muscles. Now let's talk about peristalsis. Peristalsis is a wave-like motion. How do you know that you're hungry? Your stomach growls, right? You feel like something's moving. That's actually peristalsis. Okay? The growling is actually peristalsis going on. It's a wave-like motion. Location is, when you think of peristalsis, it occurs within the GI tract. But the main place it occurs is within the esophagus and the stomach. Its function is to move food down the digestive tract. So the function of peristalsis is to move food down the digestive tract. This is why it's a wave-like motion. It moves it down. Right here, we have esophagus, and right here is the stomach. This is fullness of food. Okay? Basically what happens, the muscles behind the food will contract. The muscles right in front of the food will basically relax. Okay, so the muscles right in front will actually relax and therefore form like a pocket, and the muscles in the back will contract, therefore pushing it down in that pocket. Does that make sense? So this is how the food was here. This contracted, this muscle relaxed, food moved down. Okay? That's how peristalsis works, and food is able to go from one area of the digestive tract to the next. Okay? Now segmentation. Segmentation is random muscle movement. Peristalsis was coordinated. The ones posterior muscles contracted, anterior muscles relaxed, right? It's coordinated. But segmentation is random muscle movements. Okay? Location, when you think of segmentation, it's actually the small intestines. Okay? It's in the small intestines. Function, to mix food. Okay. Has anybody ever made a dough? Yes. You guys know it's just random movement, right? You have the flour, you have the ingredients, you have water, oil, and you're just randomly trying to mix everything to produce dough, right? That's what segmentation is. It's just random muscle movement. So right here was a food, all of a sudden that muscle contracted, therefore the food was split. The food was split. As it splits and mixes, also there's digestive secretion, so it's just mixing in with digestive secretions. Okay? So That's what segmentation is. Any questions about the motility of the GI tract? Now we're going to talk about the esophagus for a little more in detail. It's a long hollow tube about 18 to 22 centimeters in long. Its function is to transport food. Its function is to transport food. Okay, so transport it into the stomach. Now, it has three different muscle composition. In the upper portion of the tube, you actually find skeletal muscle. The lower portion of the esophagus, you actually find smooth muscle. And in the middle portion, you find both fibers, both muscle types. So let's say this is my esophagus. The upper portion is skeletal. The lower portion is smooth muscle. And right in the middle, you have both. Does that make sense? So the upper portion of the esophagus and the lower portion of the esophagus, two distinct different types. The middle is a mixture of both. Now, what was the function of valves? What was valves? When we're talking about the heart, what was a valve? Prevents backflow, and they act like doors, right? Same thing with a sphincter. So what happens, the esophagus has two sphincters. They're like doors, they open and close, And the muscle of that muscle is smooth muscle. It's smooth muscle, not velvet. Now, the doors so you have two sphincters. One up here, which basically right here you have the pharynx, correct? Right here you have the stomach, correct? So you find a sphincter between the pharynx and the esophagus, and this is called the upper esophageal sphincter. Okay? Then you have a sphincter that separates the esophagus and the stomach, which is called the lower esophageal sphincter. Okay? So we have two sphincters, upper and lower. So name me one of the sphincters that we have. I can't answer it. Yes. Okay. Esophageal. Upper esophagus. That one. Yeah. So for some reason I can't figure it out. Okay. So what is the location? Between pharynx and esophagus. Okay? What do you think the function of that sphincter is? When does that sphincter relax? So when does it relax? When food arrives into it, it opens, allowing food to enter the esophagus, right? Relax when the food arrives. Therefore, food enters the esophagus. When does this close? Once the food has entered the esophagus, that one stays closed down.
So when it's relaxed, it's open.
When it's relaxed, it will